It's your boy, Beef.
Stick a finger in my ass.
2 fingers to Broadway.
2 fingers to prostate.
Yeah.
Bust boy. Bust Lightyear. Yo, I've been doing a no fap thing for a while, so I'm bust last year.
Bust last year.
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah, I've been celibate for a while. I'm bust last year.
Yeah. Let's talk
Bust
about
last year to Star Command. You guys going out tonight? Like, nah, man. Me and my girl just chilling. No, that's cool. Like, I want to go out to the bar. Nah, we good, bro. I bust last year.
I retain semen to unlock the full strength of my inner man.
Until it just gets a little sad.
Yeah,
nah, I
it
definitely
gets
would like to
depressing,
go
man.
back. Honestly, like, I was saying that more just to like comment on it, but I would like to do a retention span sometime soon. I feel weak. Too much busting.
You know, man, I don't know. I'm still the same way I've always thought about it.
Once a week kind of thing?
Yeah, like I definitely think like jerking, especially watching porn too much, will fuck your brain up, you know? But like, I don't know. I think it's one of those things where if I don't nut for too long, it just gives me more stress and than the positives. So like, I got a nut. Like I got or I don't know. Like I could agree. You don't gotta watch porn. Agree with that. But like, I got a nut. I become like a terrible person if I don't nut for like more than a week. Like I can't do it. I just get stressed out, man.
Have you ever tried to go a month?
I couldn't do it,
dude. You gotta get over that hump. Though.
I've gone.
It's like quitting cigarettes. It's like you get antsy and like fucking what's the word for it? Like irritable for a while. But once you get over that hump, like you tap into this like wellspring of just like, like I can fuck you. Like that sounds fucked up, but like you just feel very powerful. I like it. I can't always do it. Like I usually make it like a week or 2, maybe 3 if I'm lucky. And more than a month is like rare, but it does feel good. You do have that. Like I even had it like a week or 2 ago where like I one day I was just pissed off about something. I was getting like fucking antsy. I'm like, what the fuck happened? I'm like, I haven't like jerked off in like a couple days. So I was like looking at porn a lot for like a couple days, and I stopped for like 4 days. Like, why am I like being such a little fucking cranky bitch? It's like, oh, like you're fucking in withdrawal right now. But you ride that shit out, and then there's like a nice valley on the other side of it.
Any potential gains I get from that shit, I get after like 4 days. I've gone 2 weeks, man. I've gone over 2 weeks, man. I've gone over 14, 15 days. And
go
it's
90
like,
days.
When I get there, no way.
You can do it.
I can't do it.
You can.
I can't
You're strong.
do it. I'm very strong. I'm like very strong. But
can
like,
do it.
I can't do that. And not only do I can't, you know why I can't do it? Because I really don't think there's that much benefit to it. I think the main benefit is from not watching porn and not doing it all the time. I think because dude, once you go long enough without nutting, like yeah, you might have a wet dream to get it out, but like it gets like unhealthy at a certain point if you go way too long, you know, because your body we need to come.
That's what the wet dream is. That's your body's mechanism to basically keep the semen cycling. So your body takes care of it itself. Like you're not going to be in danger. There's the prostate aspect of it that some people talk about that like bits of masturbation is positive to keep your prostate function correctly. But again, that's kind of the mechanism of the wet dream. That's what it does. It's kind of cycling that all through. So I don't know the exact science of that shit, but like wet dreams, you tend to get them when you haven't actually come in the real world in a while because your body's trying to make you come. I've
had wet dreams before. It's cool, but it's just like I'm still in the same camp.
It's healthy. You're supposed to have wet dreams.
I've tried doing a couple weeks, and I always find my perfect middle ground of like being a sane person and getting the benefits of not doing it. Of like do it once a week, or like if you really want to go balls deep, like maybe like 10 days, like take a break. But like once I get to like 2 week hump, it's like the point of diminishing returns for me. Like it just doesn't feel good anymore. And I gotta say like yeah, like when you don't do it and then you do it again, like you feel like a newborn baby kind of, like everything's just so stimulating. But I get that after a couple days. You know what I mean? Like I don't need to like wait for so long. Like,
that's not even why I do it, I'll admit. Like I don't do it for the stimulation. I'm overstimulated as a fucking is. So that's like I don't want to be that stimulated. But to your point, same thing with fasting. Like, do you need to fast an extended period of days and days and days to get all the benefits? Most of them are kind of in the first 2 to 3 days. So kind of similar to what you're saying. And I'll give you that. But yeah, the biggest, best thing you can do, kind of like, oh, everyone has to be vegan or everyone's shit. It's like, no, eat more conscientiously. You either have to never nut again or if you porn every day. Like, no. Kind of like you're saying, all right, don't jerk off every day. I'm in the camp of no porn if possible. Like, find other ways to be stimulated, partner or fantasies. But like, that shit on a screen is just all bad. But to your point, yeah, like I did like, I think the longest I went, and I was also on the end of a breakup. So it was like, there's a lot of emotional shit that kind of made it easier for me to not get horny like all the time. So it was like, there was a lot more going on. I didn't just like decide I'm gonna go 90 days without jerking off. It was like, I was depressed for like 3 weeks and then like da-da-da. It's like, they just, coming was not like on the forefront of my mind. I think I made like 92 days or something. It was like 89 or 92. It was like not some perfect number. And then I watched some porn and jerked off and it's like, yeah, whatever. But like towards the end of it, diminishing returns. I'll give you that. You stop feeling that kind of blissful kind of float that you do. And I'd say at least a month is a cool thing to try. Even if it's not what you do all the time, it's an interesting feeling. It's interesting to feel like you get this cool kind of connection with like women where like, I don't know, like you just all that like bullshit no fap stuff where it's like you strong eye contact, but it's kind of real. You do feel this kind of like oomph when you're there, like, hey, and you could just like, pew, and you just kind of feel very like, I'm a man and you're a woman, and if you want to fuck, we good to go. Like, I'm ready for this.
No, I get that, but I'm just saying like I can get that way quicker than a month. That's what I'm saying. Like, I understand what you're saying. I understand the power. I know there's power there. But like, it's just like, for me, it's like I can go a week and like I feel that power like full force.
A week is
like,
good.
Yeah, no, and I do a week once in a while, like, like, and I think that's why I guess what I was trying to say with this is my middle ground is, you not like either every 3 or 4 days or like once a week, maybe twice a week. You know what I mean? Like, just get it out with, because then you're always getting that. If you do that, you're always getting that 3 or 4 day reset. Mm-hmm. Like. So I think that's the middle ground, I think ideally, like, guys probably shouldn't nut more than like 2 or 3 days a week if they don't have a girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like, because then it's just like, because then it's like, yeah, you get that whole thing of like, oh, you're just gonna, oh yeah, why would I go like find a girl or like, bang someone when I could just like jerk myself off too much? You get too much of that mindset when you do it too much,
Yeah.
So the healthy balance is to like, no, like you should still be out there like prowling, but like, give yourself a break when you need it here and there.
Yeah, and something I've said to you in the past is like, even with the whole like semen retention and like no fap and not jerking off, is it's not all just sex. It's not just whether or not you're getting laid or you're using it to get laid. It's just like, I also feel I have better connections with people, when I'm in a general state of just not being depleted every day. Like we have friends who are like, oh, I'll get porn every day and jerk off every day. I'm like, I don't feel like I would feel good. Yeah. Like, I used to do that, and I didn't know there was any other way to feel. And then at some point, either by accident or on purpose, I didn't do that. And I was like, I feel noticeably better. So now I'm not going to, I don't want to do, like, I don't eat pizza every day. I don't eat Mickey D's every day. I don't want to look at porn every day. It just don't lead me to being as happy as I know I can be.
I'll say this. If you're one of those people that need to, like, nut to fall asleep, which is, like, a lot of guys, and I know it's, like, a really easy way to fall asleep, like, I would say get out of that habit, because especially, or if you got to do that, don't watch porn before you go to bed, because watching Scream before you go to bed and then nutting looks like you're bursting all your energy out to fall asleep, and then you're fucking like melting your eyeballs with this screen right before you go to sleep. So you're basically telling your body and your eyes like, hey, the sun's out. I need to produce chemicals to tell me that there's like harsh light before I go to bed. And then your body's like ready to like be awake, and then you don't get restful sleep. And like it's real shit, bro. Because I've noticed like when I don't watch like porn or have screens in my face right before I go to bed, I definitely wake up better for sure. Like, I used to like fall asleep watching TV and shit, and just something I did growing up, and like I cut that shit out and I feel so much better now. And like I'll say this, like if you're the guy where like you need porn and you need to jerk off for bed, well, try not doing that. But if you got to do it, then like do it, like watch porn like 2 hours before bed, get your nut out, and then just focus on falling asleep without like nutting. Because I definitely see it's a real issue for some people, for sure.
Dude, 100%. Even like to me, people who smoke weed before they go to sleep, it's like you're like by doing that, you are guaranteeing you are going to get worse sleep. Nah, bro, I don't know what you're talking about. The herb takes care of me.
Dude.
No, you are not getting REM sleep. You're not getting good enough sleep by smoking weed. I'm not saying you're getting necessarily the worst sleep in the world. There are worse things you can do before bed. You are not getting as good sleep as you can get if you're getting fucking high before you go to sleep. It helps you fall asleep. It fucking feels amazing. I won't pretend it don't. Getting a little high, like passing on the couch, like all snuggled up, shit's amazing. But that's a once a week thing. That's not an every night thing because you're not going to get the good sleep.
It's not good sleep. No.
And back to your point of the dudes who got a nut before they go to sleep every night. My question is like, okay, why? And no offense, like what are you doing up before bedtime that you're so fucking wired up that you got a nut before you go to sleep? It's like, oh, I'm just that much of an alpha, bro. I just got all this testosterone. I got to bang it out. I'm like, maybe you're just like on your phone fucking all day. Maybe you're drinking too much coffee. Maybe you're a stressful, shitty job that gets you so wired that now you got to do some kind of either drinking a lot before you go to sleep or smoking a lot before you go to sleep.
You got to hit some dopamine to fall asleep because you're so like stressed out and miserable. Yeah. I think it's more of that because I heard the other argument where it's like, oh, you just didn't do enough in a day. And it's like, well, no, if you're an adult and you work a full-time job, and especially if you have a family, like, you're probably doing enough in a day, you know? I mean, obviously you have a family, hopefully you're just banging your wife, you're not watching porn, right? I guess this conversation more goes to, like, single guys or, like, you know, or young dudes. But, like, you know, yes, you can. I've heard guys say like you should like tire yourself out, you know, with the work you do for this world in the day and then fall asleep. But it's like, no, man. Like a lot of people like are in situations where they're not happy or like they're working jobs they don't like. So like getting that dopamine hit before they go to sleep is like a good way for them to like, you know, get some relief. You know, and I think that's the only time I ever go back to something like porn. Like I really try to like make myself like nut without porn, you know, but like anytime where I need porn or just end up defaulting to it in a day where like I need to like just get it out of my system is a day where I'm stressed out. I'm just like, oh, fuck everything. You know what I mean? Like that's the only time I ever default to that anymore. But I'm very conscious of it. And I think most people aren't. And I think it becomes like such a default system. And you got to be able to overcome that if you want to see like real like changes in your life. You know, like these little things, they add up over time. Like people don't realize it.
Dude, I feel it with you 100%. I remember I don't remember exactly when it was, but sometime in the last, I think it was like during a breakup, it was like the third or fourth day in, and I was just like fucking stressed and upset and fucking sad. I just went in the shower and I was just like, I got like stress horny. Like it was weird. I got like a stress boner. I was just so like fucking like so much emotional turmoil. I was just like, I need to bust the mother of all nuts right now just to like take the edge off. And it's like, yeah, in a perfect world, there are a lot of better choices I should have done before that to not get there. In that moment, I don't know what I could have done to replace that. It just kind of was what was going on. And it's kind of like makeup sex, the same kind of thing. It's like when you have that much kind of emotional turmoil, sometimes like the best thing in the world is just that release and that kind of like even it's like I'm so fucked up on chemicals. Let's just add a couple more to make it all fucking level out and make a party out of it. But
or let me just shoot my brain up with some like porn dopamine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think it should be seen always as a last resort.
Yeah, and
like it should be understood like, hey man, you're fucking rolling those dice. Like not rolling the dice, but you're like you're overclocking your computer there by doing that. This is not optimal running. It's not like what you should be doing as a routine. It should be the exception, not the rule. And to your point about, you should be tired with your day. I think a big issue is a lot of like what we have in modern society is your brain's tired, you're fucking stressed, but you're so sedentary. I'm getting out of my job now. I'm in an office job. It's like, yeah, like I did a lot of work today, but it's all up here and I barely walked 100 steps. So your body is like stressed out, but physically it's like, are we fighting a tiger today? Like, why are we so stressed out? What we gotta do? Let's do it. And you go home and you can't sleep because it's like the two parts of you don't make sense to your body. Like, I am like emotionally and like mentally drained and fatigued, but literally my muscles have barely fired today. What the fuck is going on?
Dude, working out makes me a better person, 100%, like 110%, dude. Literally, like I become an asshole if I don't work out because like it's just any of that like rage that like I put, or any, I don't know, any bottled up rage I take out in my workout, and then all of a sudden I'm just left with like the chill like dopamine hit of like just resting, you know, and it's like and that's dope, and that's like my happy level, you know, and like when I don't hit that, like I'm just like a miserable motherfucker, so like I gotta work out, and yeah, man, it's you know, mental work is not physical work. If you're working a labor job, you might get that like dopamine kick on the rest when you're recovering, you know what I mean? You get those endorphins in, but like you're not gonna get that from a regular office job, you know? And like, so you gotta like, and honestly, if you're working a regular office job, you probably will have more time or at least energy to hit a workout than a guy doing physical labor. So like you should make it a priority because like you just be a better person. I really feel that.
I literally had that conversation in the kitchen today with this dude Miguel, who just like we were always washing our shit at the same time, and he made a home gym during COVID and shit, and he was kind of saying the same thing. He's like, I gotta do it. I'm sitting all day. I can't not do it. And I'm like, hey man, I didn't work out all week, but like same thing as you. It's like I feel like working out takes out that freak energy that just like that'll make you like get mad at your mouse or fucking yell at it like an inanimate object, or like it. You don't have that much energy to like be a cranky bitch when you work out, because like, all right, it's like the primal part of you, the mammalian part of you has been like appeased. Now all it's left is like, all right, what kind of fucking society bullshit do I have to do today? Now I gotta wash my ass. I gotta go wash my ass. It's okay.
What spiritual conscious endeavoring thing can I like expand into now? Like once the primal shit's out of the way.
Well, that too. I mean, to that point, I feel like another thing that people don't have enough of is just like silence. Like so, you know, spiritual shit. Like we don't do enough. Like sometimes the best thing you can fucking do is nothing. Like what you do before bed. Take a good hour to do fucking nothing. Turn off your phone, turn off anything, read a book, maybe. Sometimes don't even read a book. Maybe write in a journal, maybe just stare at a wall and think of some shit. It's like, oh, when I do, my mind just races. Okay, well, then there's some shit that needs to get out. Let that shit race. Do it for a couple days. At some point, you'll either start figuring out what's stressing you out and start hearing some answers to it, or it might dissipate. You'll kind of deal with the thing that's bugging you. But it's like this idea that we always have to like, the thing that pisses me off the most is like guided meditation or like meditation music. I'm like, that is like the most like back-asswards way. It's, I don't know, to me in the way my body functions, the way I function is like the best thing I could do is go for a run with no headphones, drive to work with nothing on. You know, if I'm at home, do the dishes, do some laundry with no music, no nothing. Let the day kind of decompress out of you. It's like you stay. The more you stimulate, it's like your brain's still trying to like digest and eat. And it's just getting fucked over.
You got to de-stimulate, and I think 100%. The conscious meditation music is good to get people into that practice, but it shouldn't be the crutch to make you do it.
If it's a stepping stone, okay.
Yeah. Like you shouldn't need like a guided meditation to meditate. Like you should be able to just meditate. But like, yeah, if you use it as a stepping stone to get to a place where you can just meditate and like de-stimulate yourself and just focus more on the present moment, then like, yeah, I think it's really good in that situation. But on top of that, like I think I find myself more and more driving and just not putting anything on. No podcast, no music, like just getting in my car and just like going. And my thoughts going, not my thought, my brain is going, my thoughts are going. And it's just like, it's just constant. And all of a sudden I'll be driving, 10 minutes will go by and I'll be like, oh shit, like I was in my head that whole time. Like there's no other stimulus, you know? And it's like, you really get into your mind when you let that play out. I have a crazy mind. My thoughts are always racing. So like, it's good for me to stimulate. It's good for me to listen to podcasts and stuff because it kind of like tunes out the overstimulated thoughts in my head. You know what I mean? Like the crazy ramp ups that I get internally. So I do find that like listening to podcasts and music does help me. But those moments where like I shut it all off, it's like, it's just, I need to do it because it's just like, yo, like there's too much going on. You're doing too much. Like you need to just be here right now. And whatever happens in your brain, just like fucking let it happen for a little bit. And then you can go back to all the other fun shit later. You know, I find that more and more. I just get in my car and I'm just like, I'll start driving and it's like my brain is so wired. I don't even think about putting on music or a podcast. I'm just thinking about all the other shit that I'm doing. Like it's wild. It's wild. Like I wasn't like that when I was younger. You know what I mean? Now like there's, I guess there's maybe more responsibilities, more things on my plate. It's like my brain is just like, it just doesn't need all the other stimulus now, you know? And like I need it to like counter off any of that shit that's bad. and to kind of like clear my head, get out of my head. That's really what it is. You know, take you away from like, you know, all the crazy shit going on in your head. But I try to have like a good balance with it, like a 50-50 of like, you know, let my mind roam free with content and then let my mind roam free within itself and come back to that balance when needed. But yeah, it's definitely something to be mindful of, like to give yourself those moments where you're not stimulated, and especially before bed. I agree with you, man. Like you can't like revving up the stim, especially like the like we were talking about, like the light before bed. I think is the worst thing. When I was a little kid, I used to fall asleep to fucking Bill Cosby because my dad. I had like a cassette player in my room. My dad would play Bill Cosby CDs, and I'd be like scared to be like alone in my room. I'm like, oh fuck, and then no. And then he'd play Bill Cosby to calm me down.
Yeah, hey, Dad, it sounds like you're having a tough time, and then want to listen to this child predator.
Yeah, this is years.
I mean, you only drugged and raped grown women, so you were safe.
This is years before he was fucking convicted of a rapist. This is like his little comedy CDs.
But he was still doing it then.
Yeah, but I was a little kid listening to a comedian. You know, that's
it's fine.
That's
dude.
More what it is.
Hey, your butthole was always safe, so he was never coming after you.
Not at 10 years old, man.
Dude, but just that's fucking hilarious. In a dark room, just dude,
I had a prostate exam like 10 years old.
What's that to do with Bill Cosby?
Well, we were talking about buttholes.
Oh yeah, that's true.
As a kid,
yeah,
I got violated, man.
Nice.
Because I was constipated. I was obese, this fat little kid, fat as fuck. I'll put a picture on the screen. And fucking my dad was like, what the fuck do I do with this? I don't fucking know. This kid's fucking not shitting. And I gotta help him shit. This is fucked up. I'm just trying to make music. This kid can't fucking shit out of his own ass. So he tried to help me out, man. Like, granted, the reason I couldn't shit is all the fucking pizza and bullshit I was eating.
Yeah.
And but like, he fucking brought me to this specialist, this fat ass doctor. It's the same shit they did in Family Guy, man.
Yeah.
It's the same fucking thing. They fucking guy, like I'm with my dad, they're just talking, making me comfortable, and I pull down my pants, and this guy with this fucking sausage ass finger. Just fucking meaty ass, this fat ass doctor. Fucking probably needs his own exam. Fucking just rams that shit right into my ass. I'm just sitting there, I'm just like, hey dad, so we're gonna get Yu-Gi-Oh cards later? I was like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Dry?
I think he might have put some, no, he put Vaseline like on the finger, but not on my ass. So it's like when he put it in, it slid right in, but it was like, dude, it was like,
spit on it first.
It fucking gaped me, man. Like, it was fucked up. I remember it was like literally when he did it, it was like, and like I had a tear fall right down. I was just like, I was like, what the fuck is? I was like 11. I'm maybe 10 or 11. I was like, what the fuck is happening? And yeah, it was wild, bro. Never forgot that.
Did you come?
Didn't come, but you know, that night I probably just went home and fell asleep to Bill Cosby. That's my childhood, man. It's fucking fucked up.
You gotta go into that toilet, make peace between you and God. You do what you gotta do. I ain't coming in there until I hear a plunk.
You used to have to give me enemas, dude.
That's fucking lit.
You used to give me enemas. My dad would like be like, "Darn, you know, we gotta get out of you, so you gotta bend over so I can get in you."
Oh my God. Did he say though? Did he say that?
Of course not. Of course not. My dad's
little,
not
isms,
like that. No.
Little fuck puts on his leather driving gloves to fucking clean your asshole out. Just humming his own songs. It's gotta be you.
Well, son, you gotta get the water in your ass so you can go to class and be a good boy.
Cleaning your ass in the USA.
You wanna know some crazy? The day, but my dad, like, I used to share a room with my sister, and the day my dad built me like a room, like he made like sectioned off a corner of the house to like build me a room. The day he did that, he had a picture, signed it, and was like, "Take care of your room, buddy. Love you." And it was like a picture of him, and he like, put it in my room.
I've seen that picture.
Yeah. That was the day before 9/11.
That's fucking amazing. It's your fault. No.
Dude, I looked at the date one day, and I was just like, September 10th, like 2001.
Jesus. Jesus
Like,
Christ.
interesting.
He
And then I was
knew.
like, what was September 11th? I was like, 9/11.
Was that Mardi Gras? Like, what the fuck happens on September 11th?
Yeah. I was like, wow. I was like, I got my room the day before 9/11 happened.
Dude, I was in 3rd grade when 9/11 happened. And when my teacher told us what was happening, I like pictured in my, because she just said a plane hit the Twin Towers. I didn't even know what the Twin Towers were.
Yeah,
back
nobody
then.
knew what the fucking Twin
No,
Towers. You're a
but-
little kid, dude.
But I pictured in my mind Snoopy in a biplane like crashing into like a fucking like, I don't know, like the Empire State Building. Like, that's silly. And I'm like, why are we going home from school? Why did they ask if we need a therapist? I don't even know what that means.
So my dad was like working in the city during that time.
Oh, shit.
And I remember being like, I was confused. So the teachers were like saying all this shit, and I was just like, my dad works there, and they were like, they were like, oh my god, you poor child. And I'm just like, I don't know why that's so sad, but yeah, I think he works down there. And like,
Oh my God.
they were like, Jesus Christ, this kid's fucked.
My dad almost had to go down in the fire department. Thank God he didn't. He probably have cancer now.
Yeah,
all
probably
that
get-
bullshit.
As best as Greg could, you avoided that asbestos.
I didn't even try to avoid it. They were just on standby. They almost had to go.
Yeah, it was
You know,
crazy.
but-
Dude, your dad was probably locked and loaded. He
Dude.
probably would have loved to have gone because the sport is brothers. Your
Yes.
dad's a noble dude.
Yes.
He would have been down there.
Yeah, dude, that shit's. Yeah, that whole situation. You know, I don't know if there's any like confusion about our opinion on the 9/11 before in our previous podcast episodes. That shit sucks, man. 9/11 sure sucks, bro.
Yeah, 9/11 is a darn bad time.
That's a darn tootin' terrible time.
yeah,
man.
that was
fucking whack.
no bueno for the whole
Dude.
populace.
Dude, that I wonder. Okay, my question though is like, as bad as 9/11 was, that wasn't that many dead people compared to shit that happens in other countries. So I wonder, like, when people see that in other countries, they're just like, "What are you guys bitching about?" Like,
Oh, no, I'll say this: it was a lot in one day,
Mm-hmm.
but in terms of like people being killed in a general thing,
yeah, the
like-
way they're killed is definitely a lot worse because it's like a full ass terror attack. But like,
yeah, it's a brutal killing. It's a brutal killing of thousands of people. That's why it's so bad. You know, that's really why it's so bad. But like at the end of the day, like in terms of numbers, like war kills thousands of times more people, which is fucking crazy to think about. Like I thought about it once. I was just like, oh, this many people died in this war. That's like 10 9/11s. You know what I mean? In terms of like thousands of people that have died. Like it's crazy when you think about it sometimes. But yeah, 9/11 was bad. Okay.
yeah,
Not good.
you know, we've had a lot of deliberations on that topic, but I think we can both agree now 9/11's bad.
Yeah.
Took a lot of convincing, but before we were talking about your butthole, we were talking about going to sleep at night. I think when you're a little kid though, you're just so fucking like durable and you have so many stem cells still. Like you can kind of, when I was a little kid, like you look now, my teeth aren't that bad. Yeah, they're not like the whitest in the world, but they're not
You
terrible.
got nice teeth.
I take care of them. I
pretty solid.
floss. I do the water pick shit. You know, you use Sensodyne. Before I went to sleep, every night as a little kid,
Sensodyne.
I would drink a glass of orange juice and a glass of chocolate milk and not brush my teeth.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's amazing. I have teeth in my fucking head right now.
Yeah, dude.
But it's like the thing is like you're kind of durable as a kid. I feel like you can do all the wrong things but still be okay.
Yeah, for sure. But like, there's some kids that end up getting like 6 cavities or 10. I've seen kids with like so many fucking cavities, and it's like, it's amazing how. I mean, maybe think times have changed because you're more educated now. But like, it's amazing how like that shit would just happen. It was like normal. And it's like your kid should not be having like fucking holes in his teeth.
Yeah.
That's bad for your whole life. You know, like I remember seeing that shit go around. Like kids just had cavities. I'm just like, and I had like 1, maybe 2.
I think I had like
ever?
2 or 3 like in my whole life. But yeah, it's
I was a big apple juice kid.
apple juice, really.
Yeah, fuck
I
with
loved
apple
orange
juice.
juice. I loved how like citrusy it was. I think it explains why I love mimosas so much nowadays.
Yeah, mimosas are
Mimosa
good.
king.
Yeah, dude. I was a big apple juice guy. It was something my dad like always had in the house. Apple juice. I don't know why. He always had apple juice, but
It's Italian thing.
yeah, Bill Cosby, man. I would just listen. I'd fall asleep to him, and
I used to love Bill Cosby, bro.
yeah,
And look, the shit's not funny anymore. It's like, what did I just say? He's still funny. His comedy is still funny. The art is still what it was. He's just a horrible monster of a person. It's
Yeah.
like,
no, of
you
course,
know,
of
it's-
course,
we're
of
separating.
course.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's just funny. It's like, Yeah, going back to watch it is probably hard. Like, I haven't like tried to go back and watch the Cosby Show or like watch a Cosby like special since all his like nonsense came out. But yeah, I'm assuming it'd probably be harder to watch. I don't know. It's like Chris Brown's a bad dude apparently, but I still love Fine China. That's a good ass song.
Yeah, no, I mean, he beat the shit out of people.
It's alright, I'm not dangerous.
Dude, fucking R. Kelly, dude. R. Kelly?
Yeah,
that shit's
bro,
fucking, dude. He like enslaved like teenagers, dude.
He's like grooming them and
it's
shit.
Fucking crazy.
It's the remix to Ignition, hot and fresh out the kitchen. Mama rolling that body, got every man in here pissing, sipping on Coke and rum.
Come.
You're only 14, it's
Come.
awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna come. Bro, it's like when you talk about being in prison, like, I'm fighting for my life. It's like, yeah, you're a pedophile. Like, you're getting your booty hole played with, as you should.
He's just
That's
like
the game, bro.
He's like, I gave them a good life. That's basically his whole stance. I'm just like, yeah, but like they didn't know any better.
Full of trauma and therapists, you
Jesus
fucking moron.
Christ.
Like,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, yeah, it was terrible, but it's also
I
like,
don't know.
what? No,
No, I'm not gonna fuck it with you. But
no,
like,
no,
what?
no. I mean, like, no, like it's bad, but
Expand.
I saw some shit where like some of the shit was like the girls were trying to get in there to get his money. You know what I mean? So obviously, like, yeah, it's terrible, like through and through. But I'm saying is it's kind of a both sides thing too. It's like the girls were like, in a way, like trying to like leech off of him, but at the same time, like he was fucking feeding the fire. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like he was like, you know, making it all worse. You know, especially for himself. Like this fucking young girls, man, you can't be doing that shit.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna sit here and like it was like that fucking Bill Burr comedy sketch about gold digging whores, where it's like, hey, how do I approach this tactfully? I won't. He's a pedophile, and some of those girls probably sucked. I don't know the story of every person who's involved in that, but it's like, yeah, sometimes dudes are creepy and go after young girls, and sometimes the young girls jump at the dudes. They still shouldn't bite, but it's not always the dudes in a van like trying to lure them in. Like, women will go after what they want just as men will go after what they want, and you can be the freak in either one of those situations depending on how you respond to it. But it's like not like he's out there with like a butterfly net just like hooking kids walking out of high school, you know, in every situation. Or some of the situations I probably like basically, but
You like my music?
it's like, who are you? Like,
I'm fucking R. Kelly. Oh, let me
I
live
think
in
my
your
dad
mansion.
listens to you. Like,
Let me live in
Dude.
your mansion, man. Fuck. Oh my god. So since we've talked about so many fucking health things today, what about fasting? You're a fast master.
I'm
You're Ryan, the fastest Santone.
fastest.
This motherfucker fasted for like what, almost 2 weeks once?
I've done 2 weeks. Yeah, that was my longest.
That's
one.
so insane, dude. You could literally write a book about that shit.
I probably could. And the thing is, like, it's like one of those things where, like, once you do that, like, everything else kind of.
It's easy, right?
Yeah.
Like shit's just easy after that.
But it's like, the funny thing is, okay, yes, I did a 2-week fast once, but I can still, like, get hungry nowadays and, like, not intermittent fast every day. It's like, what's the phrase where it's like, not out of sight, out of mind. It's like when you don't do something for a while, you kind of lose it. Use it or you lose it kind of thing.
Yeah,
where it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
like
Definitely.
me fasting for 2 weeks once a couple years ago doesn't do anything for today. Like my skin is bad right now. Like I'm kind of like, I had pizza for lunch. Like I've been working out. So it's like, blah, blah, blah. It was an interesting thing to try. And honestly, it was like as not great as you can think I did feel. What kind of fucking sense was that? I didn't feel that bad. Like I hit the last day and I was like, do I go longer? I could have gone longer.
That's so crazy. You would have become Jesus. You would literally.
That's what I was trying to do.
You would have hit Christ consciousness.
That's what I was trying to do. Like I felt it was during that whole time period where I was like going back to the church and like trying to like study all the time, and I thought it was like my responsibility to like fast for 40 days and like
To
see
cleanse
God.
yourself, right? You
Well, I
gotta
was trying to get my
cleanse.
mission from God, like literally. And some days I still feel guilty that I didn't. Like even the first Friday, you and me hung out with Greg. That weekend I was supposed to fast again. In my mind, I wanted to go another like 7 days, kind of like really decide if I was gonna go back to the church or not, and I never did. And I still feel guilty about that because now I feel like I don't have like the answer. Like, I don't know if I did the right thing or not. It haunts me.
Yeah. Fucking the Jehovah life, man.
But they don't even recommend fasting. They don't dissuade
they don't
it.
recommend it. So it's just something
not
you kind of
part
came
of
up with to make your decisions.
I did it. Yeah, I was reading the Bible a lot then. I forget how exactly I fell onto it, but like a lot of Bible passages talk about like prayer and fasting and fasting for this many days and fasting, no food, no water for this many days. A lot of times, people in that time period fasted, and I'm like, I feel like I have to try this. And it was at a time period where like I wasn't really chilling with you guys, like I wasn't super close to anybody at work. I was kind of just like an island of a man. I'm like, I'm just gonna do whatever I feel compulsed to do, and it just like struck me. And funny enough, the weekend I decided to do it. I started with a 3-day fast. It was like a Friday. And one of my coworkers comes up with me, super nice girl, Janine, still friends with her and her husband, and she was like, "Hey, me, Jesse, and are gonna do a 3-day water fast. Do you want to do it with us?" I'm like, "I'm already on. I'm a day in. I think I was a day ahead of them already. I'm like, I'm already doing it. Like, oh shit, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, like good timing, guys. And I hit the 3rd day, and I was like, I should go for 7. Like I felt guilty breaking it. I broke it. And I broke it I think on a Monday or whatever. I got to the end of the week. Like I was taking a shower to go to work on Friday. I looked in the mirror. I'm like, do it, you bitch. And I did 7 days. And that was like one of my first 7-day fast.
So how many times have you done like a 7-day fast?
Only twice.
So you did a 7-day fast and then a 14-day fast once?
Yeah.
Wow. That's
with time in between. And the 14-day fast was only because I was punishing myself. I was doing a 7-day fast and I fucked up some shit. Like I felt like I had to like make amends to people and I didn't do it right. And so I punished myself with another 7 days, which I do not recommend. It was me in a very bad mind state. Like it wasn't a good time in my life.
And I gotta say too, it's a health thing. You were just drinking water, right?
Just water.
Yeah, that's not good. You should have been drinking like bone broth or something with sodium, so that like you could at least get to some of the nutrients that you need. Because like it's dangerous, you know, when you're because it's dangerous honestly more from just like a hydration thing, like a perspective. Because like you need water, salt, and potassium. And at least I'm pretty sure drinking bone broth will get you halfway there, and then water, you know, and then I don't know where you're gonna get potassium from. I'm not gonna recommend how to do fasting properly because I don't do extended period fast often. So when I do fast, I just drink water and bone broth or something like that. Like today I'm fasting. Which actually why I want to bring this up because it's 7:30 right now, and last time I ate was like 11 o'clock last night. So I'm like a little over 20 hours in right now, and I feel fine because I intermittent fast every day. So the first 12 to 16 hours is pretty easy for me, or I start feeling it at like 16 hours. But I've been busy today, so I haven't really felt it that much. And but like today, like, you know, I'm gonna drink some bone broth to like make sure I get some salt in if I'm not gonna do anything else, and then I'm gonna drink some water, you know, and like. If you're not doing that, it can be very dangerous because then you're just playing with your body's hydration. So props to you for doing that on just water. That's pretty wild. Yeah, and it's possible. I did an 80-hour fast once as the longest ever gone, and I just drank water for 3 days. And the craziest thing to me, and I don't know if you experienced this, but this was fucking wild to me, was that I've done a day before, yeah, but doing 3 days? Like, yeah, it felt weird. Like, second day, it's like, yo, like, it's just getting intense. You know what I mean? Like, and then... Like you said, you kind of forget about being hungry. But after the 3rd day, when I went to eat again, like I had some spicy chicken or something like that. I ate it, and it was like my tongue was like a newborn baby. It was crazy. Like it was like it had never tasted food before. And then I ate it, and it was like maybe all the cells reset, and I had no programming left. Like almost, that's kind of like it's like I wiped the hard drive clean of my fucking like palate. And I ate this chicken, and like my tongue was exploding with flavor. It almost made me realize, like, oh my god, this is like what it's like for kids when they try something for the first time. It's like they don't know what they don't have any reference database in their brain to correlate these situations and like these phenomenons that are happening to them, especially with taste. And when I ate that chicken, like my tongue just exploded and it was just like overstimulated as fuck. And I was like, oh my god, this is fucking crazy. Like, I can barely eat this, like, because it was like so intense and it tasted great, but like it was like my tongue literally had like this burning, like tingling sensation because it was like so intense. Have you ever felt something like that?
Whenever I break a fast, I try to break it with the most bland food I can, just to like capitalize on that. So like when I broke my 2-week fast, for the last week, I had a packet of salted cashews just waiting for me. I said, I'm going to break it with that. It's like the most bland, but like it's fats and it's like salt, which you need. It was like that and avocado. And that's how I broke my fast, like 4 or 5 in the morning. And dude, it's like magic. Like it's like you're eating each cashew just like, it's the most amazing thing in the world. To your credit, like what you're saying, it's I don't know the biological mechanisms that lead it to be like that. Whether it's just the chemicals in your brain, kind of like kicking off because now you're eating again finally. Like it's probably a little bit of your like autonomic, like I don't know if that's the right word for it. Autonomic, but it's like a little bit of your like deep core brain being like, yes, you're supposed to eat. Feel good. You should eat. Do this more. We'll make you feel good. Like a little bit of that kind of release. But yeah, your tongue kind of resets. Everything tastes super good. And it kind of wears off pretty fast, unfortunately. Like within the same day, like you're kind of over it.
Right.
It's like the week you are fasting, like I was like looking at fucking recipes like it was porn. Like it was like, oh, I'm going to make some sweet potato, zucchini, squash, spaghetti or whatever. I'm like, I'm going to make the shit out of that. I'm going to put it in my ass. Because it's just like the idea of food is blowing your mind.
Yeah, dude. Like, I don't know. I agree with you. Like, everything tasted good. And even when I explained, I think I probably went overboard with, like, the spicy food. Maybe that was just, like, maybe I should have went a little more bland. But, like, yeah, no, I agree with you that, like, it shit tasted good. It was just, I guess, it could have just been the food that I ate. It was so powerful that, like, gave me that response. Mm-hmm. Like, I never expected something like that to happen. I expected more just, like, to food to taste good, but not like to my whole senses just like reset. Like that was crazy. Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, it's something that like I recommend to people just because it does. We just eat out of habit and out of boredom and out of like normalcy. We don't eat because we're hungry necessarily. We don't eat because we need it. And it's like we eat out of routine almost. And so when you forcibly kind of take yourself out of the matrix, so to speak, of that routine, and you just decide what you're going to do at that time instead, and then decide when you want to eat, not when you're being compelled to eat by like your body or like your mood. You're taking a power back that you didn't know was there. It's like, it feels like you're a kid who's been locked in your house your entire life. Like, yeah. Oh wait, I can go in the backyard. It's like to me it like engendered a lot of like, I don't know, like independent agency in my life. It was like, oh, like I literally decided against my evolution. Like I literally like told my body and my instincts and like my kind of programming, nah, man, I could do this. I don't need you. Like, nah, I don't need you, but we're gonna break the script and we'll come back. I'm gonna eat someday, but for today, I'm gonna kind of go after a different kind of like satiation. And you'll get a lot of shit done any day you fast or that's the last week fast I did. I got shit done because I'm like when I do it now, I'm so used to like I know what's coming and I know how much I love food. So it's like I'll start planning shit out for every day and like always having a list of things to do just to keep my brain occupied so I'm not bored because I'll eat when I'm bored and I'll start like, hey man, like you've done 4 days. Four days is enough. Like you've done fine. You're weirding people out. Mom and dad are worried about you. Just eat a banana. Just eat that. Dude, at one point I want to eat a napkin. Like I saw a napkin and it was like frilly. I'm like, that shit probably tastes good. Like, bro, I'm not gonna lie. I still thought about eating paper.
Jesus Christ.
I saw a piece of pizza on the ground of the sidewalk one time and I wanted to eat that shit. I'm like, I'll fucking put that in my. I was so fucking hungry.
Put the paper on the table. Put some fucking pink Himalayan sea salt on it. And let it rock my world.
Dude. What did you, describe your mental state to me, like, did you have any, like, interesting, I do find, like, you get, like, this weird euphoria at certain points during the fasting process. Like, did you notice in your kind of mood or in your thought patterns, like, were you really busy during that time period? Did you have time to kind of, like, feel it out?
No, that's a good question. I was busy. I was working on my like home studio, like in my room, and like I was like fucking around with that. So I was very busy during that period. Like I was constantly just wiring shit and like running things around and like, so I think that might have hindered the intellectual experience a little bit because I was preoccupied. But I just remember it was just a weird feeling. Like I didn't walk away with anything like super enlightening, but like I do remember feeling like, man, like this is like fucking crazy. Like, and I do agree with you that once I hit a certain point, like maybe like 48 hours or like even like, let's say like 35 to 40 hours, which is like, yeah, you can just keep going. You know, like it doesn't feel good, but like it gets easier to continue after 24, after like the first chunk of time than it is for the first like day. I remember you saying that, and like I definitely agree with that. I also think that like it's something where I don't think you need to do a week. I think the 3 days is probably fine if anybody wants to try something like this. Like, I think you'll get most. I think in terms of, I've talked to Sarah about this before, and I think most of the benefits in terms of like resetting your cells. That's what people do it. They do it because they reset your cells, and your body can like
the autophagic cycle.
Right. You probably know more about it than I do, honestly.
That's a word. I know that's a word.
Yeah. Autophagy.
The autophages outside in their parade. But no.
10 autophages have casted spells on the population. Now everyone is fasting with just water.
Call the Decrypticons. The autophages are here.
We got to fight these autophages with no food.
What is the premise of this TV show?
Autophages versus fast food.
Bro, y'all straight up. If I had to recommend like if someone's trying to get into fasting, start by intermittent fasting, do what you're doing. Because that's something you really, I feel like I do feel my best doing that every day.
Yeah.
I am not doing that now. I do not feel my best right now. But yeah, I think in a perfect world, I would probably like eat lunch and dinner every day. That'd be like kind of my thing. And
I feel great doing that, honestly.
Yeah, breakfast is rarely necessary.
Fuck breakfast, dude. Breakfast like slows me down. This is like when we were talking about college before. I know we didn't talk about it on the cast, but like literally, dude, I would wake up, slam like an oatmeal protein like fucking smoothie drink that I'd blend up first thing in the morning, or eat some eggs like back in the day. I don't eat eggs anymore, but back when I did eat eggs, like, and then I would just like, I would just get hit with all this shit. I'd go to class and I'd sit down and I'd have all this like extra energy from the food, and I would just get rock hard. I would just get fucking rock hard, sit in class and like couldn't pay attention. Like, cause I already had like the early morning testosterone from just like being young and awake, you know, when I was like in my early 20s. And then like my dick would just get fucking rock hard from this, like all these carbs, I guess, or something that I just consumed. And I would just sit there and like stare at girls and like not pay attention in class and just like I didn't learn shit. And dude, when I don't eat nowadays, when I wake up, I am so focused and clear, can get so much shit done. I can just be like so fucking lasered in. But when I do eat, that's when my focus starts to drop. So I actually like, I try to not eat until I'm kind of moving more towards like a 1 meal a day kind of thing. But like, I do still like to have my protein shake to break a fast after like 12 to 16 hours, because like, you do get hungry after like 13 hours. Like it's kind of inevitable. But, and I think, if you hit a wall, you should eat something. But I do try to get the window, like my window of eating is probably like 5 or 6 hours, maybe a little longer, in a day. Cause I mean, if you break it down, like if you're fasting for 16 hours, you can have an 8 hour window to eat. So, but when I eat, like I tend to lose focus. So I try to get all my shit done before I eat. And then anything after that, like anything after I do when I eat, and I think this is good practice, should be something I really enjoy, because I'm going to start to get like satiated and kind of lazy. So like for me personally, like I'll do like, my work during the day, so I can like make money and whatnot and be very hyper focused on that. And then at night I'll do more of like, music or like the fun shit or like the shit that like I'm really passionate about, because that I can do whenever, shit that I gotta like force my self to do. I'll do that before I eat. Cause once I eat, like you lose that motivation. That's what I'm trying to say. Like I feel like it's really easy to like lose motivation, not want to do shit. Cause like when you eat, like you're slowing yourself down. Like your body's got to process all the shit. When you're empty and you're just rolling, like you can just go, like, and it's kind of wild. You do get hungry, but like once you get used to like this lifestyle of like only eating in a certain window per day, not eating all the time, like you can get yourself into these focus modes, and when your body's slower after eating, and you're like, okay, like I gotta like rev down so I can like, change the way I'm attacking everything.
No, dude, you ever catch yourself like, I catch myself at work sometimes like pushing back lunch until I finish certain tasks, almost as a reward, because I like that kind of like, I work through my hunger. I use hunger almost as a fuel to like stay sharper and like push through things. And then, when I hit some kind of milestone or some kind of like checkpoint in my day, it's like, now I will eat. Now I will kind of refuel and then kind of do the next thing. But it's like I don't like to like leave something half done and then eat because you're just like it's fucking up the flow.
It's the reward cycle.
Yeah, and I think the reward aspect of it might be a little dangerous or not the healthiest like setup to always like set food up as a reward. But I also don't think it's a bad idea to kind of, to your point, think of a meal as something. It's like don't eat through work. Work, take a breath, eat, work. Don't always be typing like that kind of. I do that a lot at the office job I'm doing now. I'm like, I feel like I'm just crashing into 4 o'clock every day, and then finally I'm like driving home from work like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah,
whereas like kind of breaking up the meal could help with it. What would you recommend? Let me ask you. So I fast for 14 to 16 hours. Let's say we're doing your diet, the fruit, fish, and chicken. All right. Well,
the diet that cured most of my psoriasis was fruit, fish, and vegetables.
Vegetables. All right.
I would just change that to meat, like vegetables and fruit. You know what I mean? That's more what I'm doing now. And I also, and I'm okay with that because fish has a lot of metals. So shouldn't just eat fish all the time. I do think if you eat a couple times a week, you're probably fine. But if you eat all the time, there could be some underlying issues that come along with that. So I just say be careful of that. I ate fish for literally a year and a half, and I was fine. I think I'm fine. I don't know. They could have did some damage. Maybe I did some damage. I don't know.
It looks shinier.
Yeah, maybe it looks shinier.
Every time you go through a metal detector, you're fucked.
Yeah, so I think I'm fine, but I did eat fish for a year and a half, and in the time I was like curing my psoriasis, and it's not fully cured, but it's almost there. And so yeah, what I would say. What was your question again?
I guess it's like, in a perfect world, I would also do the 1 meal a day thing. When I broke my last 7-day fast in I want to say I think it was the summer. It was before Luis's wedding, but I was trying that carnivore diet. The guy you're showing me, Paul Saladino.
Yeah, Saladino.
Salad man. And
salad man that eats no salad.
Salad man eats no veggies, and I would just eat 1 meal a day because I was like still breaking the fast and have a huge like appetite. But I'll eat like the beef liver, some beef like muscle meat, sweet potatoes, avocados, and avocado and like 3 eggs, and boom, that'd be my 1 meal. And then I think probably an apple and a banana throughout the day because I was doing fruit too because I just like fruit. The 1 meal a day thing does like worry me for like the job I have now or like a regular day-to-day thing. If it's a 1 meal, it'd probably be lunch for me. I don't like the idea of going all day without eating because like I like to have a beer or like a drink sometimes at the end of the day. I don't like if like my day kind of things start piling up towards the end of the day. It's like, fuck, am I not going to eat till like 11 o'clock at night or something? Yeah. I don't always want to do that. I'd rather kind of like have some, I'm always trying to put on, mass. I don't like not eating. So if I have to break my, like, let's say I fast for, 14 hours, 16 hours, what's the first thing you think should I eat it all at once? Like if I'm splitting up a little bit, is it a bad idea to eat fruit first? Is it better to eat like meat first? Like, while I like spike myself by like eating a sugary fruit? Does it matter?
I mean, the way I've been doing it, the way that I did it for a long time and what got me honestly into the best shape of my life and even now, like honestly, is I would do, let's say I stop eating by like between 8 and 10 o'clock at night, like in that range. Like it's not the same every day. And life isn't the same every day. You're not going to eat the exact same times every single day, but you should shoot for it and try to be consistent. So that's why I give a ballpark range. So when I would wake up in the morning, I'll do like a workout fasted and then, get my day started. So typically like, let's say I stop eating at 10, sometimes 11, if I'm being totally honest, but stop eating by 10, 12 hours, 10 o'clock. I'm usually eating a protein shake, which is like, right now it's half a cup of blueberries, frozen blueberries, 2 bananas, a scoop of vital collagen protein, and that's it. I usually put beetroot powder in there too, but I took that out of my diet because I'm experimenting with the psoriasis, but typically it would be beetroot powder too. And so it would be like this sugary like protein drink that I would have at 1 or 2 o'clock usually. And that was like every day, pretty consistent. And so if you count that in, 11, 12, 1, so it's about 15 hours fasted, like on average that I would do. And that's pretty consistent. So I would do like on average like 15, sometimes longer, sometimes a little less, depending on like if I feel like shit. And I would do that shake. And then later on, probably, so that's like 1 or 2 o'clock. Then at like 7 or 8 o'clock, that's when I usually eat like my big meal. That's where I get most of my calories in. And for the most time, it was 8 ounces of salmon, a can of black beans, like rinsed and cooked, avocado with fermented sauerkraut, which I really loved, but I took that out of my diet because I've been experimenting. And I would do like pink Himalayan salt in that. And I'd mix the beans and the avocado stuff together. So it'd be like this awesome like bean avocado dip thing. I'd have 8 ounces of salmon, and then I would air fry like a head of broccoli, which would probably be like 100 grams or a little bit more. Like I got to look at my like calorie apps to make sure that's right. But and I would do that like pretty much every night, and I would just swap out the fish for different types of fish. You know, like I would go between like I would do salmon, I would do cod, I would do marlin and like what the fuck is the other one? Swordfish, but swordfish has a lot of metal. Like big fish have a lot of metal, so you want to be careful with big fish. So, but I would like switch between these different fish, and then I would change the beans to like chickpeas or like garbanzo beans and just a different type of things. So I get some variety in my diet because I'm a simple guy. I like to eat the same stuff. I think it's okay to do that, but a lot of people argue that you should have more diversity in your diet because when you eat the same thing all the time, you're not processing it the same because your body gets too used to it. It's kind of like working out, where like you do the same workouts all the time, it doesn't have the same effect. And it's the same thing with food a little bit. So that's kind of the way I would do it. And then so I would do that, and then I would stop eating, and then after a while I would add in kombucha, and I would do that with the meal. And then throughout the day too, I'm drinking a gallon of water. So that's like the non-processed food, like healthy diet I did that cured most of my psoriasis, and it really worked well, and I still continue to do it for a long time. Now I'm trying to like kill the psoriasis completely, so I added in other meats. I took out the fish to experiment, and like now I'm eating like a pound of meat, like 2 avocados, and like fruit, and like that's it. And like I have like a mango at the end of the night. That's the other thing too. Like I would after I would do that meal, I would end it with like a mango because it's like a nice reward. So or like a different type of fruit, but like I would usually go mango. So that all together, like for my normal diet, well, the way it was for a long time, with the fish and everything, that was like 2,300 calories, 2,200 calories. You know, very lean, and I got very lean doing that. So I definitely recommend it. Cured most of my problems, and now I'm just taking it to another level to see what's going to actually kill the psoriasis I have left, or if it's not food at this point for me, and that maybe it's like vitamin D deficiency or something else, and like see something else I can attack it because I don't get outside much, so that very well could be a problem for me in terms of the remaining skin condition that I have. So yeah, so I know it's kind of a mixed bag, but that's how I would do it. I would like 1 o'clock protein shake, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock big meal. Maybe a little like fruit snack after that, and then I would make sure I'm done eating by like 10 o'clock at night, and that was like very consistent, pretty much every day, even on like weekends, everything. Or like I would plan my weekends around that. Like I'd eat before I'd go out. You never really see me eating when we're out because like I always get that shit in, and then like if I want to have like a beer on the weekends or something, but I drink crazy maybe like twice a year nowadays. Like I don't drink crazy. So like I might have a beer once in a while, but like it's like a once in a while thing. It's not like a weekly thing. I enjoy a nice beer too once in a while. I think it helps de-stress. The other thing that I do too is I do take a lot of vitamins. I'm very regimented with vitamins, especially specific vitamins. Like I'm taking a lot right now because I'm trying to like cure problems with the psoriasis. But I always recommend multivitamin, omega-3, vitamin D, probiotic if you can, and or drink like kombucha or eat fermented food. Again, it's give and take with a lot of that, but try it out, see how you feel. I liked it. I don't eat as much anymore, but I definitely liked it for the times that I did.
What's your give and take with the fermented? Like, is it just like you're saying like a taste thing? Like some people may not like it, or are you saying maybe give and take with the actual efficacy of like the health benefits of fermented food?
So like Saladino, he has a very strict list of like the carnivore foods that he eats. Right. And his whole argument, which obviously I don't buy into it totally, but his argument is that a lot of plant foods they have defense chemicals that like fuck us up. So, fermented foods, it's like a spectrum. It's not as bad, but like, I mean, he takes it to an extreme. He says you shouldn't eat kale and broccoli, and it's like a lot of people think that's crazy. I'm very 50-50. I ate a lot of broccoli, and like I still have some psoriasis, so I just took broccoli out of my diet. I'm trying to see if that can cure it. And that's also why I'm very regimented with vitamins right now. So I make sure I'm getting the micronutrients in that I need that I wouldn't get from like that from broccoli. I'm going to be straight up. All this shit that I'm doing, I feel fucking excellent. Anytime I don't feel excellent, it's probably because I didn't sleep enough. And I haven't been, since I started all this shit, like I haven't been sick in forever, you know? And like the only time I ever feel bad, it's either my own stress going on or it's not getting enough sleep. I haven't had any physical issues since I started eating this way and like being this regimented. So I definitely recommend it. I definitely recommend being smart about it and doing your own research and finding what works for you, because we're not all the same and not everything's going to work the same for everybody. And I know that because some people can't eat peanuts, some people can eat peanuts, you know? It's like shit like that is how we know like we not all meant to eat the same thing. But I do think there's a general basis of stuff that we can all eat that will probably be good for us or that we evolved eating. So nutrition's very nuanced, and like there's like graduated levels of like there's like the high school level, college level, master's level of like nutrition. Like you could take this shit so far and the science is changing all the time. So that's where I'm at after like years of experimenting with a lot of this shit, and you know, after being vegan for 4 years too, and then going back to now eating like a good amount of meat. Like, so definitely feel the best on that fruit, fish, and vegetable diet. And if not just fish, then just some meats every day. I don't think eating a ton of meat is the way to go. I think eating like no more than like 12 ounces to a pound a day is probably the most you should eat. You know, because when you're bodybuilding, you need more protein. So and that's why I don't think bodybuilding is the most safe thing to do long term, because you have to eat more meat. You have to eat more protein if you want to keep muscle. So I just think like you shouldn't go past a pound of meat. You know, I've been experimenting personally lately, trying to see what's good with that. But if I had a perfect world, it'd be between 8 to 16 ounces of meat, the rest of the foods that I recommended, and then just like play with all the other things, see how it fits you and how your skin and your body reacts to it. So that's my recommendation after experimenting with a lot of this stuff. It works. It really does. It really works. And you'll be able to just go. When I worked that office job back in the day, worked for a different marketing company for a while, and I would be in there, and like I had a different diet then, but I'd be in there working, and I was fasting. I've been fasting for years, and people would go out to lunch, and they like take a whole hour, and I would just sit there and have a protein shake and some nuts. And I don't eat this stuff anymore, but like that's what I would do. I had like a plant-based protein shake and nuts. This is when I was vegan, and I would just slam that shit like while I was working and just keep working. You know, so I'd break my fast with that, and I wouldn't lose any time, and I could get more shit done. So there is a lot to be said for productivity and fasting for sure, on top of all the health benefits. So I think there's a lot of health benefits fasting, not only just lifestyle, but like, you know, resetting your body and letting your body reset, I think is such a good thing. And people really take for granted, like, oh, I can just keep forcing my body to do this and that. If you're eating all the time, your body's always processing and may not have been done processing the food that you currently put into it from the last meal that you had. Like you might have some leftover processing to do from the previous meal. So when you give your body that window to fast, you can kind of ensure that everything's going to get out of your system properly. And you can like, you know, have a clean slate to eat the next meal, you know? We don't need to eat all the time. You really don't. And when we were fucking like hunter-gatherer people, like, you couldn't do that, you know? Even if you had a freezer, you had to thaw shit out, you know what I mean? Like in like the early days when like food became more accessible, like, you know, we weren't really meant to eat all the time, I don't think. And I think now there's science coming out to support that. A really good podcast you should look into, Ryan, that kind of goes with all this shit is, oh my God, what's his name? David Sinclair. You heard of this guy? He's been on Rogan.
Name sounds familiar.
David Sinclair. He's like 55 and he looks very young. And he's like, you know, like one of the leading guys for this type of research, like nutrition, lifestyle, and aging. Another guy, Peter Attia. He's awesome. You should look into him. Like that's where I've learned some of this like lifestyle aging stuff. But a lot of it's just been my own practice, trial and error with diet to get to where these conclusions that I have are now. So. Still trying, still working. I still have psoriasis, not completely cured. So when it is, I'll let you know. But that's where I'm at with everything. And that's kind of like my whole take on diet right now. So, yeah.
Would you say, and not to be inflammatory, do you feel that you feel better on your current diet than you did when you were hardcore vegan?
This is a nuanced question or answer. And I'll answer it in two ways. When I first went vegan, I think the reason I felt really good was I cut out all the processed food. I cut out so much processed shit. I like ended up just eating like, you know, like beans and oatmeal and like literally no like refined sugars and all that shit. And like, so I did feel really good when I went vegan. But long-term vegan, after like 2 or 3 years, I started having like memory issues because I wasn't supplementing maybe properly, but there was just something that I was missing when I was vegan that like made me not me anymore. And that when I started eating fish again, because I didn't want to eat like a ton of meat, so I started with fish because I just felt better about it. And like I always thought like fish was probably a little healthier than other meats because of the omega-3 factor. Again, there's a lot of metals in fish, so there's very 50-50 on that. But I do think, probably fish, in my opinion, is probably healthier than red meat. People would debate that. I don't know. I'm not like the bona fide expert on this stuff, but so that's why I started with fish. I felt really good going vegan, getting rid of the processed foods. And then by the time I started adding fish in, I literally got, by the end of being vegan, I got psoriasis. I had Lyme disease, mono. I got really sick and I wasn't getting better. And that's what ended up leading me to the psoriasis diet that I developed with like Sarah and my own research. And basically,
that's crazy how that gets through.
I know,
it's because of the window.
Yeah, it's probably because the
We
window's
could probably
thin.
soundproof that at some point.
Yeah.
Put some insulation.
Soundproofing this place would be great. It would only make things better, honestly. But
That's really like that window you have to worry about because you don't have any neighbors over here, do you?
no.
Yeah.
But yeah, like to answer your question fully, I think the best benefit I got from being vegan was cutting out the processed food. And now I've feel way better and have furthered that feeling by adding in a little bit of meat and fish and just keeping the processed food out and adding in like a lot of fruits for like energy and sugar and so like now I just feel really good. If anything, now I'm kind of eating like a high carb carnivore a little bit. That's kind of my diet now, but like ideally like I would still eat black beans and like sweet potatoes. I still like that stuff. I still think it's good.
I still like sweet potatoes. That's a hard one to kick. Like especially like when I was in the one meal after the fast, I loved the sweet potatoes. It just felt like it like meshed well with all the meat I was eating.
Yeah, no, it's a nice little like top off, Even like honey is good, like because it's natural and it's like it's really not that bad for you unless you eat like a fuckload of it. But anything's bad for you if you eat a fuckload of it. And that's why I say I don't think eating more than a pound of meat is that good for you. But when bodybuilders train, like they eat so much fucking meat, and you have to if you want to build a ton of muscle, and it's just not that natural.
You're trying to force your body into a weight class, into a frame, or into a shape that it just doesn't want to exist at. Like I'll say it for me, like my body, like I feel most comfortable at like 160 around that area. Like I feel like I look the way I want to look and I feel the strength I want to feel and I feel like my shirts fit the way I like them to. The most ideal hippy dippy, like letting all that ego go is probably me hanging out around 150, 145. I think that's where my body wants to be. And I think if I fasted hard and didn't force myself to eat more than I need to and didn't do like all kinds of like weight training, I'd probably be around 150. Yeah. And it's like that's probably where my body wants to be at, to be like a lean, mean hunter-gatherer kind of thing. Yeah. But I like
How tall are you?
I'm like 5'7".
So you're 5'7". Think of it this way. I'm like 5'10", 5'9.5" if we're being technical. More 5'10" with shoes on. But more reason I'm saying that is me when I was like shredded, 160, 159. Now that I put on a little bit more muscle, 165, 170, I'm very lean, basically shredded. So I think for me, the ideal weight shredded is like 170. And I used to think I could get up to 180, 190. Now, if I were to do that, the amount of food I'd have to eat to do this naturally, not with steroids, like I don't take steroids, right? Like to do this fucking naturally and be like healthy about it, the amount of food I would have to eat to get to 170 and the amount of weight I'd have to lift, like I would fuck myself up. It wouldn't be sustainable. Like what I'm doing now is kind of difficult, like eating a lot of meat, meal prepping and doing all this stuff. Like not eating like a ton of meat, but the amount of meat that I am eating, like it takes time, And it's just getting to 170 being like shredded is very difficult. Like if I was shredded right now, I'd be 165. So like I've only put on like 5 pounds of muscle in like a year and a half of getting back to lifting, So, I think, like for you at 5'7", if I am shredded optimal shape at like 170 at 5'10", then yeah, for you, it should be like 150. You know what I mean? Like if you're like, jacked and like in shape for like a natural guy, I'm saying here, like not a guy on fucking steroids or like trying to get fucking huge. Like, 5'7", 150 sounds pretty good to me in the ballpark of healthy range. So, I would shoot for that, man. Like,
yeah, it's,
what are you floating now?
like 160s, something like 164, 160. Like I'll float in that range.
Yeah.
And that is a little bit of me working out again, a little bit of me probably eating too much and sitting too much. So like I'm not as lean as I'd like to be. I can't see my abs anymore right now. That's why I say like I gotta force myself to really be the heavier self. It's like, it's not me being healthy, it's me trying to force myself into a shape I want to look like in the mirror. It's like, yeah, my healthiest body where I'm running all the time and fasting all the time and not eating more than I comfortably need to, I probably will be 155.
Yeah, that's probably a good range.
I am dense. I do hold muscle well, thankfully, but it's like the ones. Yeah, I did it one time. I took proportions. I took what Christian Bale looked like in Batman Begins, with his height and his weight, and I said, okay, if I proportion that to my body, which doesn't work perfectly, but I said I'd be 170. My height to like.
That's insane.
Yeah, do you know how much I'd have to fucking do?
I'm a couple inches taller than you, and I barely hit 170 shredded, dude.
Yeah, but he was also he's a psychopath. He was eating like whole chickens like every other day, every meal or whatever. Yeah, the way I kind of describe it is like the palette of my life would greatly have to be diminished for me to get my body to be that big.
Yeah.
Like I would not be able to have the like amount of other things that make my life enjoyable. Other hobbies, time spent in like passions would have to suffer for my desire to engorge my body to that size. Like there's and it's not like, man, you gotta be healthy, bro. Healthy is probably 150, 155 for me.
Yeah.
Being healthy, being jacked and fucking yoked is not unhealthy, but it's artificial.
Yeah.
It's not what my body needs to be, it really wants to be. It's what I want to be. I want to look like, because I want to look like a superhero or something.
Yeah. I do think it'd be interesting for you to like really be consistent with both diet and training for like a year. Because I wonder what you would weigh. You might end up being like a shredded 160. Like a shredded me, like with good muscle, is probably 170. Maybe for you, it's 155, 160,
It was crazy.
Like,
the biggest I ever was when I was working at JMC, when I finally started working out again, I was working out twice a week. That's it. 1 day deadlift, 1 day squat, and then other stuff on top of it, like pretty much the same workout every day, like bench of some sort and arms of some sort. And I got up to like high 160s, and my waist went up to size 34 pants. It's like right now I wear 30s to 32s, and I was up to 34s.
That's crazy because that's like me. I'm like 33, 34. That means you were really getting big.
It was the high end of it though. Like the 34s became too big for me pretty quick. I had a pair of 33s and I was probably closer to it. And it was like also because I was at an office job, so I was sitting and eating all day.
Yeah.
So I definitely didn't have like the cardio that I do now, or like I did like during COVID and all that when I was like really running all the time. And it was not my optimal like whatever, but like it was kind of nice going to the bar. Like if I tucked in like my shirt into my jeans, like I had a big ass and big arms, I'm like, fuck yeah, here we go. But it was like I wasn't my optimal self in other places. Like I think that as fun as that was, I kind of gotta let that midlife crisis thing dissipate for the sake of all the other benefits I see from a more balanced lifestyle.
I felt like shit when I used to not be able to keep up with you and Greg hiking.
Yeah.
Not that I can super keep up with you guys now.
You did fine on the Marcy hike. That was the hardest one. It's only because you had a fucking child in your backpack.
Yeah, well that and I like fucking damaged myself on the way down. That was really bad.
I think if you didn't have the backpack, you wouldn't have had all that shit happen.
I agree. So
I give you credit. I think you're in better shape than me and Greg because we did not have a 60-pound backpack.
And better shoes, I gotta say. I think my shoes kind of fucked me up.
You think those suck?
I think they're not terrible, but I think like there's certain things like treading on them and like this shit on the side here where like you could easily trip. Like I don't think they're meant for hardcore hiking.
No offense, I've never hiked in joggers. I tuck my jeans over. Like I have this on my boots.
Yeah.
They're good because they give you ankle support. They let you lock in. Cover the top of your boot with jeans, and you may not have that happen.
Yeah,
don't look as fashionable.
We're talking about like the hook on like a boot, basically,
it's like tie your lace, shit. I should know what it's called. The lacy hooky thing at the top that boots have. I don't know.
The lace hook guy over here, but yeah, like I enjoy now. I do 10 minutes a day max incline on the treadmill. I do that pretty much every day, and on some days I'll do like up to 90 minutes of that. And I do 10 minutes a day at 3.5 speed. So it's like, that's where some people would say like where zone 2 cardio is. And they say you want to do 90 minutes a week at minimum of zone 2 cardio if you want to like prolong your lifespan and be like as healthy as possible. And I think I agree with that because I feel a lot healthier after doing a little bit of cardio. And I used to just lift and eat and not do any cardio, and I couldn't move. And when I was trying to hike with you guys, I couldn't fucking move. So now that like I'm doing like just hiking training and just, training, literally not even just the cardio, but training the muscles it takes to go up on an angle, like in which I never realized like I needed those muscles, like those stability muscles to do that. Like it feels so good. And like, being able to be like, not only strong, but like being able to fucking move and like manipulate my body and get around. Yeah, man. It does feel really good. It feels the most healthy. Like it may not be like the biggest dude that can like fuck everybody up, but like I feel the most healthy this way for the most part.
Dude, I like the best I ever felt. Like the biggest I ever was that office shit I was telling you about. But the best I ever felt was COVID. During the lockdown when me and Marcus first started chilling, 3 times a week, we would run 6 miles. Jog 6 miles, jog, run. We would do push-ups and pull-ups, like not like pull downs, like literally taking your body, like doing like all like basically calisthenics.
Yeah, full range of motion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Stuff that involves other body parts, no ISO shit. We do some bench, we do deadlifts, we do like kind of like rows and back shit. And look, I probably didn't hit every muscle group necessarily, but it's like I felt like it was the best from like toe to tit, like my body just was all on the same page. It's like we had a good coach, like everyone knew the play, and we went hiking, we did stuff when we're wrestling with people. I can't bench more than everybody. I can't do it, but like, oh man, you're strong. I'm like, can't curl as much as a lot of people, but like when you need me to lift something, it's not my biceps, that's my legs and my back and my biceps. Like your body can like help each other and work. It's like, you being a solo artist, being in a dope band. It's like when you do all those functional workouts and you run and you do like calisthenic stuff, full range of motion, like you're saying, and compound movements. It's like now, maybe your biceps are only half what they used to be, but they have all the other shit working with them, and you're just a more like functional like unit, with lack of a better word, bro.
That's a good way to put it.
That's the best I felt, at least.
Yeah. Nah, yeah, man. Like I think being functional is just better for life overall. I mean, if you want to like set records and be like a strong man, or like you want to like power lift, like all the power to you. Like there's no one way to do all this shit. I just personally, after doing a lot like powerlifting and a lot of different things, like I just feel good being strong, but being also functional. Like strength training is good. Strength training is definitely good, but like just strength training and not training like your cardio, your endurance, I think is stupid. And yeah, you got to have the balance with eating healthy too. So a little food educational talk there. Oh, also, in terms of getting bigger and smaller, it's all calorie intake. It's all in and out. It's all math and science. It really is. Like, and that's why I really recommend, like, if you do want to like see change in yourself, Rye, I've tracked my calories now for a month and a half straight. But I've also just been eating the same shit over and over again. You know what I mean? So it's kind of easy for me to do that. And I think that's the only way to easily track your calories is to get yourself into a routine where you're eating similar stuff all the time. And, you'll save money, but like you also be very eye-opening into what your body can become for sure. So, yeah, I like, because it's the same thing with working out. Like at the end of the day, if you want your body to change, you have to put stimulus into it to change, right? So like, and the only way you really start to see stuff is when you have data over a period of time. So like, in terms of calories, you could eat 5,000 calories one day, but like less calories in the second day and the third day and the fourth day. And then over the course of 7 days, you ate X amount of calories, right? Whereas you could, not have that 5,000 calorie day, but have a day where you're eating slightly more every day for 7 days, and you might end up with more calories at the end of the week, even though like you had that one big cheat meal where you ate less throughout the week. So it's more over the course of time, how many calories are you consistently eating? One day won't kill you. That's what people were like, oh, have cheat days, you'll save your life. But like, yeah, you can cheat sparingly, but like it's like consistently, what are you becoming? Like, what are you eating? What are you doing to mold yourself into something? And that's where data comes in, because then you can start to track that and see like, oh, that's why I didn't lose weight this month, because I had an average of this many calories every day for a prolonged period of time. Like, so if I take out 100 calories like every day, put myself at a deficit, then I know at the end of the week I'll be at a deficit of 700 calories, and over the course of a month that'll be like 1 pound a month that I'll lose, you know what I mean, or something like that. Like that's kind of how it all works out. And with fitness and lifting, if you're, you know, it's the same thing in that you gotta add more volume, more time under tension. You know what I mean? So like you got two options. You can either like you can bench press 225 for 5, or you could do 185 for 10. You know what I mean? Like, or that's not a good example. You could do 135 for like 20 reps or 225 for 5 reps. Like, it's more about one is going to stimulate more volume and time under tension. One's going to be more strength based. At the end of the day, it's like with the 135 for 20, you moved more weight. You know what I mean? Like there is, I think for a natural guy, you kind of have to lift heavy, because when you lift heavy, it kind of does something where it brings out of you. It's not as straight cut as calories, but if you start to lift and you're training, you get past the stage where you're like in the noob gains, where like you don't have any new muscle to gain right away and you have to start getting creative. The way you can get creative is, okay, like I was able to hit this weight for this many reps. Now I have to up this weight and hit this many reps. You know what I mean? It's like you figure out these patterns where, like eating calories, it's like I did this over a period of time. It's like, all right, how much weight in this way did I lift over a period of time? Like, why isn't my chest getting bigger? Oh, I have to add more volume to my chest, So it's like when you add more volume and time under tension throughout the course of your workouts, that's when you can start to see growth once you have plateaued. I'm talking about how to like break plateaus and like push yourself to the next level. So that's why like being meticulous and tracking all this stuff and doing all the things, like, that's where you can really find the results. And it really, it makes a lot of sense, because it's like, oh, I want to be bigger. Well, you got to lift more. It could be more weight. It could be more reps. You pick one. Either way, it's got to be more to change your body with stimulus to become a bigger thing. Or like a more muscular thing, or have more muscle in general. If you want to change your body weight, it's like, oh, well, I need to eat less or eat more over a period of time. So that's where, just tracking calories and having that data comes in. So that was kind of nuanced, but it's just, that's the basis of like, you can do whatever fucking routine or thing you want, but like those two things are consistent. You either have to know the volume is increasing or the weight is increasing over time, and then you'll know for a fact your body will change due to that stimulus. Or you have to be so strict with your diet, or not strict, but like tracked with your diet that okay, doing this made me look this way while also working out and burning this many calories. Well, if I add more food or take out food for a period of time, let's see what it look like after doing that. And having all this data can help you figure out your results. So that's been Beef Spiel on getting swole, and I hope it helps somebody or you. No,
dude, I mean, that's the information people need to hear. I'm thankfully at the point, like through working out with you and working out and trying different shit over time, like I kind of know what my body wants and what it's feeling. When I go to the gym and I work out, I'm happy with the results. My biggest issue is going to the gym. It's actually having the consistency of doing it.
Consistency is the hardest shit for me. It's the only way you change. Like all this shit, everything I just said doesn't matter if it's not consistent, because then the data's not consistent, and then it all correlates. So
same thing with guitar with me. It's like
I
don't need to play 5 hours a day. If I played 1 hour a day for 5 days, I'm probably gonna get a lot more out of it.
Yeah,
and it's the old Bruce Lee thing. It's I don't fear the man who throws 1,000 punches in the day. I throw them. In a day, I fear the man who throws 1 punch every day for 1,000 days, because that kind of commitment's fucking terrifying, but it leads to a lot more. Same thing with me. It's like I don't need to work out every day and do crazy shit, but it's like I'm being so haphazard with it the last, since doing this new job, that it's like I'm doing, like last week I went to the gym twice, and that was good for me. And I felt good, and that's because I'm doing big lifts every time I go there. I really am not at a point where I could do more than that yet, just because everything's kind of getting used to like doing deadies and squats again. But it's like now it's Thursday, and this week I haven't gone yet. Consistency's already a little fucked up. It's okay to rest for a little while, but I would have rather gone earlier in the week or something.
Good rule of thumb is don't rest more than 2 days in a row.
Mm-hmm.
You never really need more than 2 days of rest, even if you're like super drained and fucked up. If you're that drained, you need more than 2 days, there's probably something wrong with you. You know what I mean? I guess that's more what I'm saying. Like that you should never, and I think that's a very good rule of thumb. Yeah, we all need a day off sometimes. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you might get a slight injury. You might need a couple of days off. That's where I'd say really take the time to rest. But even in that point, even if you're injured, you could still move and like do things.
Yeah, it's like, because I guess if you do that math, so like if there's 7 days in a week, I work out 1 day, rest 2 days, work out another day, that's rest 3 days. But in those other days, I'll hike, I'll do other shit. Like I can.
No. What I'm saying is, it's days in a row. Like don't rest 3 days in a row.
That's what I'm saying though, is so that If a week was 6 days, I can get away with working out twice a week and not having more than 2 days in a row. I hope I'm active enough on the weekends to make up for it. And I used to be, at least. I was always running and doing other shit. But yeah, for lifting at least, it's hard to make myself go more than twice a week just because I run out of things to do. Because I like doing compound movements every time I go. Like, I don't feel good. I don't feel that good finishing up a gym day unless I've done something big like deadlifting or squats. Like, I love that whole body feel. If there was a third one that I could do, I'd feel more motivated to do it.
Well, that's why people do push-pull legs. You know that split?
But I would do legs every day, I guess, because I do squats and like in my mind, I do legs. I use my legs every time I go there. I don't do calves. I don't do extensions or things. I never will, just because that shit's like too Ivan Drago for me. Like, if I'm gonna do leg extensions, I'd rather just go for a hike or go skate or go run outside. Like, and I'll do the Stairmaster every time I go, kind of like you do. Kind of like you say, kind of get those walking muscles going, those hiking muscles going. But it's like, I can't sit in the gym and do bicep curls. I can't sit in the gym and do like calf like extension, like calf raises. Like, I don't know what the word for that is.
You don't have to do calf raises. That's like such an accessory thing. Accessory work is good, but like what you're saying, I guess, is like the perfect split for you from what you're saying would be a push-pull legs, but you would have to do like some. You don't have to, but like, you would adding in some tricep extensions and like bicep curls would make those routines a little more full instead of just doing a bench press, a deadlift, and then a squat on a specific day. Because that's essentially what those routines are. It's like focusing on one of those compound movements, and that would give you 3 days to work around.
I guess what I'm saying is I do, so day A, I'll do deadlifts. Day B, I'll do squats. I never do them both in the same day. I'm using like one compound movement. I don't like going to the gym and not doing a big compound lift.
When do you bench press?
I don't. I do a modified like push up where I use the bands, so like I'm like shaking when I do it, or I'll do dips. I haven't done bar, like, was it barbell? I don't do barbell bench at all anymore. I stopped doing that like when I was 20 or 21. I want to kind of start getting back into at least dumbbell bench press, but I kind of like push-ups better because you get more your back involved. And like I feel like when I was working out with Marcus, like we would just do push-ups. And then we would do fucking barbell bench. So I lied. But I like doing dumbbell better because I feel like I have more control of it. I can risk more. I don't like having to have a spotter. I like also that like they move around, so you're forced to kind of like use your forearms a lot more. I like shit that's like gets your whole body involved while you're doing it. It's like a little harder. Definitely.
Well, the benefits of doing dumbbell bench press over, like, I do dumbbells too, because it's the same reason. I'm a spotter and I don't have the equipment in my house because I have the home gym. So what I would say with that is you have to overload your chest if you want it to grow, right? Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you're going to do like 1,000 push-ups to try to simulate some sort of growth. So doing like I understand like liking doing push-ups, but if you want like, at the end of the day, you can work out to the shit that you like to do. If that's going to help you consistent, great. But if you want to like see specific results, there's specific ways you can do things to get there. And by doing like adding weight to your chest movements, like with a dumbbell press and having progressive overload, which is adding more weight over time, will get you bigger and stronger in that sense. It's hard to measure just doing push-ups because then you run into the issue, and I've run into this issue where you start doing the same shit over and over again, and you kind of just it's like jerking off and not going anywhere. You know what I mean? Like it's not actually like adding any new muscle. You're just kind of maintenance. Yeah, it's just maintenance. So
I want to work in the weighted vest. Like in a perfect world, I'd like to do. You could
do that. Yeah,
the track spans where they are push-ups. So you're like, they're kind of moving on you, and then have a weighted vest. I'd weight to that. So
you could do push-ups with a weighted vest. That would add some progressive overload to it.
I just like it's like so totally a superstition. But I'm trying to work away from a bench of any sort. I don't want that relaxation. Anything I'm doing, I kind of want as much of my body involved at all times as possible, even if it doesn't get me as aesthetic as possible or isn't the most kind of like focused overload I can on a specific muscle. I'm kind of pushing myself away from specific muscles, I guess, which is the way I'm working out, and I don't have the best body or whatever. It's just like what I've been going for is like, no matter what movement, if I don't do bicep curls, I do pull-ups. I'll do rows, but I don't do the seated rows. I'll do bent over rows. So at least like I have to like lock my hammies and shit. Like I don't want anything resting because that shit feels like I want to feel like I'm like a old manual laborer in like the turn of the century, like 1600s, where I'm just lifting barrels on a fucking field. Like I always want the functional strength where possible.
No, then that's where weighted calisthenics would probably be a lot better routine for you, you know? And you have to be realistic with your goals in that situation. No. You have to be realistic with your goals. If a lot of guys that do weighted calisthenics, they can get huge, right? They can get pretty big. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, but a lot of them always hit the plateau because you can only add so much weight to a weighted vest. I mean, you can only, so that's when they move into weights because they want to get bigger. So that's what I'm saying is it all revolves around your goal. You don't have to have any muscle, but if your goal is to build more muscle, then that's where all these things start to like get. That's where like specific things start to come into play.
Oh yeah. My goal is to get back to how I looked in 2020. Basically, that was the best I ever looked. I felt like, and it was the best I felt. And like, if I could do that for the rest of my life, I'd be pretty happy. I might get bored at some point during a winter and go back to like benching or like doing like weight, dumbbells and shit. But it's like bare minimum, if I could like just look like COVID Ryan again, I'd be pretty happy. That was like, I had long hair, had everything I needed. I'm like, yeah, I'm rocking and rolling right now.
Word. Were you lifting during that time?
I was doing the show with Marcus, so like,
right.
Yeah, we did do bench press. So I would have us do pull ups and push ups first, and then bench and some kind of back, whether it's deadlifts that day or bent over rows or like the one you have it like between your legs, kind of like. I don't know what that one's called, but
gotcha.
Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, I would just say, man, just consistency is number one, and just figure out specific goals, and then you can make a routine that's going to let you hit there, you know? Because bodybuilding, I don't think it's the healthiest thing, especially for everybody. And at the end of the day, like, you're only going to bodybuild if you want to build a lot of muscle. If you want to be really strong, you're going to lean towards more powerlifting. You want to be functional, weighted calisthenics. You know what I mean? So it really does come back to goals, and that's why there's so many different modalities of training. So yeah, you don't have to bench press. You can add, but if you want to grow your chest and you don't want to bench press, you want to be functional, then you can add, weighted calisthenics, weighted vests, any sort of form of tension, or do hard push-ups. Like the one arm push-up, the variations of the push-ups, that's a way to progressively overload the chest without having to just do weights or a standard push-up. So that's another way to do it too, is make things harder. So yeah, man, just keep it up. And just consistency is gonna be the biggest thing. Like with diet too, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, consistency
This was the fucking health podcast.
I know, we jumped into it, went from fucking clean out your asshole to lifting and diet.
It's good. You never know what you're gonna get beef in the tone.
Did we ever even go into whatever like your topics were?
Yeah, it was bullshit. We can go hit next time.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. All right. Well, this has been Beef in the Tone. I'm Beef. That's the Tone.
Hello.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.